It was a rainy morning in Seattle, the kind of rain that blurred windows and made the city lights look like watercolor paintings. Cars moved slowly, their headlights cutting through the mist. Inside a small, cozy coffee shop on Maple Street, a woman named Claire Thompson wiped her hands on her apron and smiled at the few customers who came in to escape the cold. Claire was 32. She had warm hazel eyes, hair that curled at the ends, and a smile that could quiet storms. But behind that smile was the weight of years she never expected to carry alone. 3 years ago, she lost her husband in a car accident. Since then, her life had been about one thing: raising her son, Ethan, who was 6 years old and believed his mother could fix everything, even the weather. Life wasn't easy. Claire worked double shifts at the cafe, often coming home past midnight. Yet she never complained. She was grateful for every sunrise, even if it meant starting another day of struggle. That morning, as the bell above the cafe door jingled, a man stepped inside, tall in a dark overcoat, his hair slightly damp from the rain. He looked out of place in the tiny shop, as if he belonged to a world of glass buildings and private jets. His name was Alexander Reed, a 30-year-old billionaire who had built one of the most successful tech companies in America. But lately, success felt like an empty echo. The people around him laughed when he laughed, agreed when he spoke, and disappeared when he needed something real. So he began walking, without his driver, without his phone, without his expensive suit, just walking through the city, trying to feel human again. And that's how he found the little coffee shop on Maple Street. "Good morning," Claire greeted, her voice soft yet bright. "Morning," Alexander replied, glancing at the menu written in chalk. "I'll have whatever you recommend." Claire smiled. "You seem like a caramel latte person. Sweet, but not too much." He raised an eyebrow. "You read people that easily?" She shrugged. "Occupational hazard. You learn a lot about people by the way they order coffee." Her easy tone made him laugh. A real laugh, something he hadn't done in weeks. As she handed him his drink, their fingers brushed slightly. It was a small thing, yet Alexander felt something he hadn't in a long time. Warmth, not from the coffee, but from the quiet gentleness of someone who wasn't trying to impress him. Over the next few days, he came back, always at the same time, always sitting by the window, laptop closed, coffee in hand. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they didn't. Claire didn't know who he really was, and he liked it that way. For the first time in years, he was just Alex, not Alexander Reed, the billionaire CEO. One evening, as Claire was locking up, she saw him still sitting by the window, lost in thought. "Shop's closed, you know," she teased. "I know," he said, looking up with a small smile. "Just didn't want to go home yet." Something in his tone made her pause. She knew that feeling. The silence of an empty house, the weight of being alone. "Tell you what," she said, "you can stay until I finish cleaning up, but you'll have to help." He grinned. "Deal." They worked side by side, wiping tables and stacking chairs. He wasn't very good at it, dropped a mug, nearly slipped on the wet floor, but she laughed more that night than she had in months. When she mentioned her son, Ethan, his eyes softened. "He's my world," she said. "Sometimes I worry I'm not giving him enough." Alex looked at her quietly, then said, "You're giving him love. That's everything." Her heart warmed at his words, not because of how he said them, but because he meant them. When she finally turned off the lights, the rain had stopped. The city was quiet, washed clean by the storm. Outside, Alex offered to walk her home. They walked side by side down Maple Street, their steps echoing softly on the wet pavement. When they reached her small apartment building, she turned to him with a gentle smile. "Thanks for the help tonight." "Anytime," he said. "Good night, Claire." "Good night, Alex." He watched her climb the stairs and disappear behind a flickering hallway light. For a long moment, he stood there, a billionaire who owned half the city, realizing that the only place he wanted to be was inside that small world she called home. That night, for the first time in years, Alexander Reed didn't dream about numbers, deals, or success. He dreamed about a woman with tired eyes and a brave smile, and a little boy who still believed in happy endings. Weeks passed, and the rhythm between Claire and Alex became something quiet and familiar. Morning coffee, shared smiles, short walks after closing time. To everyone else, he was just a regular customer who liked caramel lattes. To Claire, he was a kind man who listened, who made her laugh, who never looked at her with pity. And to Alex, she was the one thing that felt real. One Saturday, Claire invited him to meet Ethan. The little boy had been curious about Mom's funny friend who always breaks mugs. When Alex knocked on their apartment door, Ethan opened it with wide eyes. "You're taller than I imagined," Ethan said, crossing his arms. Alex laughed. "And you're braver than most people I know." The boy grinned, instantly liking him. The three spent the day together, making pancakes, building a blanket fort, and watching old cartoons. Alex had never felt so much joy in something so simple. For the first time in years, he wasn't surrounded by luxury. He was surrounded by love. When night came, Claire tucked Ethan into bed. Alex waited quietly in the living room, his eyes tracing the worn edges of the furniture, the small drawings taped to the fridge, the photo of a man smiling beside Claire, her late husband. Claire joined him, sitting across the couch. "He would have liked you," she said softly. Alex looked at her. "He must have been a good man." "He was," she whispered. "He made me believe in love that lasts." Silence filled the room. Not heavy, but tender. The kind of silence that said things words couldn't. The next morning, everything changed. A black limousine stopped outside the cafe. Two men in suits stepped out, waiting near the door. When Alex entered, Claire noticed the tension in the air, people whispering, cameras flashing from across the street. Then she saw the newspaper headline left on a table. "Alexander Reed, CEO of Reed Technologies, returns to Seattle after months away." Her breath caught. She turned to him. "Alex, is this true?" He didn't deny it. He just nodded slowly, regret in his eyes. "I didn't want you to know me as him. I just wanted to be someone you could talk to." She stepped back, her voice trembling. "You lied to me, to my son." "I didn't mean to," he said, his voice breaking. "You're the first person who saw me. Not the billionaire, not the name, just me." But Claire shook her head. "You should have trusted me enough to tell the truth." The sound of her words was sharper than the rain that started outside. He tried to reach for her, but she turned away. For the first time since they met, he left the cafe without saying goodbye. Days turned into weeks. He sent letters, flowers, messages she never answered. Ethan asked about him every night. "Is Alex coming back?" She'd smile softly and say, "Maybe someday." But one evening, when she returned from work, she found a small envelope taped to her door. No flowers, no gifts, just paper, neatly folded. Inside was a handwritten note. "Claire, I don't expect forgiveness. I only hope you know that every word, every smile, every moment was real. If you ever need anything, Maple Street will always have my heart, Alex." There was something else inside. A small key, with a tag that read, "For you and Ethan." Confused, she followed the address on the tag to a quiet street near the lake. There stood a small house, painted in soft cream and blue, with a swing on the porch. A realtor was waiting outside. "He said it's yours," the woman explained. "No strings attached. He said you deserved a home where love could grow again." Claire stood frozen, tears in her eyes. She didn't care about the house. It was the thought, the kindness, the truth that even when love breaks, it leaves something gentle behind. A year later, on a bright spring morning, Claire was at the park with Ethan. He was flying his kite, laughing as it danced in the wind. A familiar voice called out behind her, "Still the best caramel latte in the city?" She turned, and there he was, Alex. Simpler clothes, no guards, no suits, just him. For a long moment, they said nothing. Then she smiled, the kind of smile that said time had healed what pain had once broken. Ethan spotted him and ran over. "Alex, you came back." Alex knelt, laughing as the boy threw his arms around him. "Told you I'd find my way back." Claire watched them, her heart full, her fear gone. Life had taken so much from her, but somehow it had given something back too. When Alex stood beside her, she said quietly, "You didn't have to come back." He smiled. "I didn't have to, I wanted to." They stood there, watching Ethan chase the kite across the open field, sunlight spilling over them, the past forgiven, the future unwritten. Sometimes love doesn't arrive with fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes it comes back quietly, on a spring morning under a blue sky, and stays.